Welcome to Green Skills for Cities lesson number 2, Nature-Based Solutions. This lesson will briefly reintroduce general concepts on nature-based solutions and then show them more in detail. Characteristics and performances of plant components will be discussed. Lastly, some case studies will be presented. Let's review together the key concepts about nature-based solutions in section number 1. Introduction to Nature-Based Solutions. The European Union for Conservation of Nature published a user-friendly framework for the verification, design and scaling up of nature-based solutions. You can download it and take a look at it. For the IUCN, European Union for Conservation of Nature, nature-based solutions are actions to protect, manage and restructure ecosystems in a sustainable way, providing benefits for human well-being and biodiversity. Therefore, nature-based solutions address contemporary challenges such as climate change, food security, or natural disasters, and provide services to biodiversity but also to human well-being. Nature-based solutions in urban design can provide an improvement of environmental quality, an improvement of the quality of life, adaptation to climate change, mitigation of impacts of climate change, and an increase in biodiversity. All those benefits can be called ecosystem services. Nature-based solutions operate by providing additional benefits such as high biodiversity, species conservation, energy generation and waste management, as well as promoting social cohesion through collaborative processes. This means that an ideal NBS is based on a co-creation of multiple environmental and social benefits. Nature-based solutions provide a wide range of ecosystem services. This figure illustrates the main ecosystem services provided by a selection of nature-based solutions. It represents an overview of the role played by built structures such as green roofs, land media, trees, water media, and rain gardens. Section number 2. Nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions combine already existing concepts such as green infrastructure, green-blue network, ecosystem services, natural capital, ecological engineering. This is a new concept used for some years by the European Union to define solutions and interventions based on nature that provide environmental services and social benefits and at the same time help increase urban resilience. But let's see them more in detail. Green roofs are areas of living vegetation on building roofs to provide visual benefit, ecological value, enhanced building performance and reduce surface runoff. Depending on their depth and maintenance requirement, they are divided in extensive roofs and intensive roofs. Green facades imply the application of climbing or hanging plants along a wall. Plants can grow upwards or downward the vertical surface. Living wall systems are based on the application of elements in which plants are inserted individually. They can be modular or continuous. Nature-based solutions include also land media. Tree absorbs carbon dioxide, retain fine dust, modify local climate, and increase biodiversity. Meadows manage stormwater and improve biodiversity. An orchard is an intentional plantation of trees or shrubs that is maintained for food production. It can absorb carbon dioxide and increase biodiversity. Nature-based solutions also include water media. Draining pavements are pavements suitable for pedestrian and or vehicular traffic, while allowing rainwater to infiltrate through the surface. The water is temporarily stored beneath the overlying surface before use, infiltration to the ground, or controlled discharge on stream. A rain garden is an landscaped area that collects, absorbs, and filters stormwater runoff from waterproof surfaces, sized to accommodate temporary ponding after it rains, but not meant to be a permanent pond. Infiltration basins are flat-bottom, shallow landscaped depressions that store runoff and filter it before infiltration into the surface soil. Here are a few pictures of the nature-based solutions illustrated before: a rain garden, a green roof, a permeable pavement, an infiltration trench, a landscape water body, and a grassed swale. Green infrastructures include natural, semi-natural, and artificial networks of multifunctional ecological systems within, around, and between urban areas: waterways, wetlands, woodlands, wildlife habitats, greenways, parks, and other natural areas. Green infrastructures are needed to create beautiful, active, and healthy places, to manage environmental waters, and to help climate resilience. Green infrastructures must be multifunctional, varied, connected, accessible, and must respond to an area's characteristics so that they can contribute to its conservation. To create good green infrastructures, it's important to work in partnership, to use scientific evidences, plan strategically, well design, manage, value, and evaluate the green infrastructure for the long term. Section number 3. Characteristics and performance of nature-based solutions. There are some important aspects to consider when using plants in urban contexts: growth rate, roots development, habit and size, persistence of leaves, flowers, fruits, robustness of wood, resistance to pollutants, pathogens, and parasites. It is important to check if within the design there are some toxic or allergenic species and to consider the frequency of maintenance. To maximize carbon fixation, fast-growing, pioneer, and long-living species must be favored. It's also important to favor species that are resistant to diseases and to stress factors. These species must share the same management needs. Some plants that are good to maximize the carbon dioxide sequestrations are poplars, with a rapid growth. However, these plants are potentially allergenic. Also, white willows can cause allergies, but they are fast-growing and good to be used in wet zones. Lantrines and maples are also good to maximize carbon dioxide sequestration. To contribute to carbon dioxide fixation, you can use also turkey oak, that grows fast and is long-living, Lawson cypress, that tolerates pollution, and hawthorns, that grows quickly, is resistant, and is a feeding plant for birds. To mitigate acoustic and atmospheric pollution, it is necessary to favor low VOC emitting species, for example maples, and species that with leaves with waxes, trichomes, resins, and roots that are good to catch the air pollutants. Some species that can be used to mitigate acoustic and atmospheric pollutions are maples, that are resistant to pollutants and good to build sound-absorbing barriers, oaks with dense foliage, elms with dense and white foliage, lime trees, large and long-living dense foliage. Also, hackberries and tree eaters are good to mitigate acoustic and atmospheric pollution. To promote biodiversity, and in particular the presence of birds, little mammals, insects, and reptiles, it is important to use a mixture of native species with flowers and fruits. It is important to consider the period of flowering and/or fruiting. For this purpose, it would be useful to create a calendar with the species you intend to use. To increase the animal biodiversity, also hackberries, laurels, and plants from the Rosaceae family can be used. For example, canny, cherry, cherry laurel, hawthorns, cherry trees, apple trees, and wild olives. All of them are fruiting plants that can also provide shelters. To increase biodiversity, poplars, shrubby fabaceae, and aromatic species like lavender, thyme, rosemary, sage, and mint are good as well. Aromatic plants can be used in areas for kids and dogs because they are safe, and in the kids area they can be a good educational tool. There are lots of opportunities for integrating plants components in urban areas. Green roofs or green walls can be integrated within the building's architecture. Colorful swales, Flower-rich grassland or rain gardens can be part of the urban design. Specific areas of the cities can be destined to edible gardens as means to grow communities. Several studies underline the interaction between humans and plants. Plants in urban areas have not only an inherent aesthetic value, but they also disclose huge opportunity as educational tools for growing communities. Besides, plants can improve people's mental health. When designing a green area, it is important that the preliminary phase includes data collection, systematic survey and analysis of the site, investigation of the characteristics of the local landscape tradition, and verify the client's needs. The drafting must be simple and gradual, respect the proportion and evaluate the harmony and the materials used, correctly combine shapes and volumes. An important factor that must be considered when designing a green area is the rate of plants growth, that is different for each species, and it can be classified into slow, medium, quick, and very fast. None of these are good or bad, it depends on the type of design you're doing. Plants growth is classified into slow, medium, quick, very fast. Here you have some examples of plants with a very fast growth. Populus nigra italica can gain 3 meters every year. When designing a green area, it is important to consider the legal distances between plants and buildings to avoid several problems and excessive maintenance. The quality of the chosen plants must be checked too. This scheme shows the right planting of trees depending on the height and the buildings in the vicinity. Key barriers identified to the implementation of nature-based solutions in cities include limited knowledge base for NBS, inadequate governance structures for NBS, balancing of the multiple goals NBS can deliver, effective citizen involvement, insufficient social inclusion and social acceptance, lack of political and financial support. The challenges for monitoring NBS, the difficulties in upscaling NBS. Key enablers to overcome such barriers include increased knowledge on NBS, engage NBS experts to support public authorities, encourage participation of stakeholders and citizens, guarantee political and financial support to NBS, follow guidance for upscaling. Section number 4. Materials and case studies. Here are linked 3 videos. The Architectural Wonder of Impermanent Cities, TED Talks. Urban Nature-Based Solutions. What are they and why are they so important? WWF International. Nature-Based Solutions in the Fight Against Climate Change. Ted Perlozan. The UNALAB project in Gavoglio Forme Militare Barrack in Genoa, Italy, aims to evaluate the biodiversity in the area before and after the creation of a large area with NBS. Key performance indicators evaluated were biodiversity, pollinator insects, evapotranspiration rate, carbon sequestration by plant, citizen well-being with environmental conditions. The IMPS Green Facade is a pilot project built in the city of Genoa, Italy, in 2014 on the south wall of a 4-story office building that was renovated in the 80s. The monitoring activities helped quantify the environmental and microclimatic benefits for the entire life of the green facade, and the life cycle assessment and economic sustainability enabled a cost-benefit analysis. Here you can find a video about the study conducted by Perini et al. In 2017. A low-cost and lightweight moss envelope system for buildings has been developed to address the problem of the lack of greening in densely urbanized areas. Several moss species have been sampled in the wild, selected based on their ability to tolerate the abiotic stresses of urban environments. A modular multi-layer panel with a built-in irrigation system has been developed, designed, and tested. Mosskin is a low-cost, low-maintenance, versatile, and lightweight system with interesting performances in terms of water management and surface temperature reduction. Here you can find a video about the Mosskin project.